Welcome to you all. We've all gathered on the occasion of Hanuman Jayanti, but as you all know, for our convenience, we are celebrating it today. Right? Let's all chant the prayers together. Let's begin the invocation. योगेन चित्तस्य पदेन वाचा मलं शरीरस्य च वैद्यकेन योपाकरोत्तं प्रवरं मुनीनां पतञ्जलिं प्राञ्जलिरानतोऽस्मि आवाहुपुरुषाकारम् शङ्खचक्रासिधारिणं सहस्रशिरसं श्वेतं प्रणमामि पतञ्जलिं गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुर्साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः हरिः ओम् मारुततुल्यवेगं जितेन्द्रियं बुद्धिमतां वरिष्ठं वातात्मजं वानरयूतमुख्यं श्रीरामदूतं शरणं प्रपद्ये. We have a very beautiful stage decorated by one of the students. I now call upon Prashant sir to release the Yoga Rahasya book, volume.
Here.
This is the other one. It's written on it, Hanuman, the Lord of Prana, exists within and moves in us in the form of breath. This is Guruji's quote, made in the year 1993 on the similar occasion of Hanuman Jayanti. Thank you, sir. I now call upon Srinit.
Okay, welcome all of you. So today we are commemorating Hanuman Jayanti. Hanuman Jayanti is not today. That happened on the 23rd. But for for convenience, etc., due to the traffic and so on, it's been held on the weekend. But luckily, today is also Saturday, and Saturday is said to be the day of Hanuman. And any temple you go to, and Maharashtra is known for these little temples in so many places, you will see a queue of people, right, seeking his blessings to overcome the obstacles in their lives, help them sort of fulfill their dreams, and so on. So that's a standard feature of Saturday as a day of Hanuman. So in a way, it's fortunate that we are here on a Saturday talking about Hanuman. You must have seen the notice board or the notice about this. So we are trying to understand Hanuman by looking at the Ashtottara Shatanama Stotram, which is 108 names of Hanuman. Today we won't be able to cover all the 108 names given the time. So we will cover as much as we can, stop there, and probably follow up with a recording or something that we can put on our channel. Now, Hanuman, of course, is very special to us, to Institute, to Guruji, and so on. I suppose all of you know, we have the idol of Hanuman. Now it has a glass casing, there is Adishesha, and so on. In the early days of the Institute, it was just Hanuman, symbolizing yoga. Also, in Guruji's birth village of Bellur, there is a very old temple of Hanuman. So there is a link to his childhood also, where now other things have sprung up, but the temple is very old, it has always been there. I also hope that as you were entering the hall, right, now you see the big photograph of Guruji. Of course, when Guruji was there, we did not have that photograph there. But next to the photograph is the idol of Hanuman, a very beautiful idol here. And Hanuman in a state of sort of a inhibitive state. He is doing a namaskar, the tail is coiled, right, in a very humble state. And you see this Hanuman, he is like a warrior, he can take on the world. So it's a very nicely decorated for the occasion. And right here we see the two facets, right? Somebody who is completely under control, a bhaktan, inhibitive, and warrior-like who can take on the whole universe. So we see both contrasts. So just like we say, diamond, it has so many cuts, every facet is unique, light going through comes in various ways. Hanuman also is highly multifaceted, right? And a few years ago, I had actually given a talk on the Hanuman Jayanti, covering different facets, but now we have the guideline of the stotra to guide us through that. From a yoga point of view also, Hanuman can be said to be paripurna, because as we know, he is a karma yogi, given his accomplishments done completely in the service of the Lord. So karma yoga is exactly that. Sarva karmanam paramagurau arpanam tat phala sannyaso va. So both of this, doing all the deeds for the Lord and surrendering all the fruits for the Lord, that very much embodied by Hanuman. Jnana yogi, there are several instances in Ramayana and elsewhere where his wisdom shines through. And in fact, in a lot of the very crucial situations, he comes to the rescue by lending his wisdom and talking in very sweet, convincing words. We'll cover some of that. Bhakti yogi, there's nothing to be said there. He is known for his bhakti and as a great bhakta. Also dhyana yogi, we see these idols of Hanuman sitting in samadhi. He is able to tear his chest and show Rama in his heart directly to people looking. So the samadhi of arthamatra nirbhasa, swarupa shunya iva, that very much sort of shines through Hanuman. So the jnana yogi, the karma yogi, bhakti yogi, dhyana yogi, all of that is embodied by him. So having Hanuman as at the peak of our institute as the Shikhara embodies the various aspects of yoga. So rather than a general talk about Hanuman, we are going, like I said, on the namas and guided by the Ashtottara Shatanama Stotram. Now this concept of nama is also very interesting, sort of a wonderful thing, very unique to the system, where the names by themselves, see normally in a language, a name is a name. So we say, okay, Roger, Robert, Peter, I mean these are names. In Sanskrit, you do not, everything has a meaning. So there is a way, there is a set of grammatical rules to create new words, okay? So taddhita pratyaha, samasta padam, etc. This allows you to create new words. So whatever names come, those are actually created from certain roots using the rules of Sanskrit grammar and codified by Panini, right? So every name has a meaning that shines through. And in fact, if you look at how the creation is explained, the Paramatma, he says, Anena jivena atmana anupravishya nama rupe vyakaravani. Okay? So he is one. Suddenly he has a feeling, bahusyam prajayeya, let me become many. Okay, so that is a sankalpa in the Paramatma. Now the very sankalpa in the Paramatma's mind, if we say that, right, it is expressed in the medium of language. So the words come immediately. And he is said to be Satya Sankalpa. So the moment there is anything, the actual thing also takes shape. Right? So the Nama and Rupa, if you look at the philosophy, they are sort of two sides of the same coin. So there is a Shabda Prapancha of Namas, there is Artha Prapancha of things. And the relation between them, as per Vaiyakaranas, as per Mimamsikas, that is an eternal relationship. Okay? So similarly, if we look at Stotras, the relationship between the names and the thing is eternal and inherent. And therefore, if we do our, let's say we take a name, and then we do the Shravanam, listening, Mananam, thinking, and Nididhyasanam, so sort of meditating upon. So if we do that, the Artha takes shape so in our minds. Okay? So in the Puranas, you will say, Jnana-rupi Vishnu came into his mind, which means that Paramatma is everywhere, so he can take a shape in our minds and be there. And then when it goes to Samadhi, its nature as Jnana goes away. And Arthamatra Nirbhasa, the Paramatma himself shines, the deity himself shines. And therefore Hanuman, who is a favorite of so many, Swadhyayat Ishtadevata Samprayogaha. So the more you learn and more you study, there is this connection between the deity and you, that yoga says it happens through the Siddhi. Okay? And therefore the use of names as something that directly denotes, it's a denoter for the denotee, just like Om denotes the Ishvara. And the names, they describe guna and karma. Because in the Vishnu Sahasranam also in the preamble it says, Yani namani gaunani, vikhyatani mahatmanaha, rushibhif parigitani. So the rishis, to them certain names were revealed. The names bring about the gunas. So it is a gaunani namani and the karma. So whenever we have a name that we hear, the name, okay, hold on. Yeah. So with the name, that denoted thing also shines on its own if we do our dhyana on it. So we have to have this background. And the taking of the name is a combination of smaranam and stavanam. Stavanam is praise. Smaranam is bringing it into memory. Because from time immemorial, we have the samskaras of all these shuddha aspects. And by bringing in the names, and by propitiating the Lord is said to reveal himself. Okay? So the combination of smaranam and stavanam happens whenever we recite a stotra. In fact, the Yoga Sutra also says, there is a series of sutras in the first chapter, it's known as Chitta Parikarma, and one of them is Vitaraga Vishayam Va Chittam. Okay? Which means, if you have a sanyama as a yogi on somebody else's chitta, okay, which is Vitaraga Vishayam, which does not have attachment, does not have desires, is perfectly pure, by that your chitta gets purified. Okay, because, so if you think about Hanuman, who is an embodiment of yoga and pure, unattached chitta, full of devotion to the Lord, just that thinking, that creates that cognition in your mind. That is alambanam. And our chitta also, it gets rid of the worldly vasanas and makes it pure. Okay, and the Yoga Sutra clearly says that, Vitaraga Vishayam Va Chittam. So whenever we recite this, all of this background has to come in our minds. And then the sort of the reciting or saying that fructifies, right? That bears fruit. So we have to understand the background whenever we start something. In fact, in the Sahasranama itself, Parvati, she asks Shiva that, okay, there are these 1,000 names. Okay, how to remember? Is there a single name through which we can think of Vishnu? Right? Shiva says, Sri Rama Rama Rameti, Rame Rame Manorame. So he says, Hey Manorame, because Parvati is so beautiful and bewitches the mind. I just recite Rama Rama Rama. Okay? And in that, I am completely absorbed. Rame Rame. I am absorbed in Rama by saying Rama Rama. Rame Rame Manorame. Sahasranama Tattulyam. It is equivalent to all the 1,000 names. For me, that one name is sufficient to be completely absorbed in that. So the use of Nama and Nama Sankirtanam, okay, as a way to approach the Lord is something that is established from very ancient times and is said to be the most effective. Because for other mantras, there are some guidelines that you should have followed the ratas, you should be pure. Sometimes there is a varna-related restriction, right? Men and women, there are restrictions. From Nama Sankirtanam, there is no restrictions. Anybody can do that and it gives the effect. So we are sort of taking a step in the path which is hugely potent and available universally. In fact, it is said, Sankirtana Dhvanim Shrutva. Okay, hearing this Nama Sankirtanam, the sound of that. Ye cha nrutyanti manavaha, the people who start dancing through joy when they hear Nama Sankirtanam. Tesham padarajas parshat, by the touch of the dust of their feet. Okay, Sadyaf Puta Vasundhara, the earth itself gets purified. Okay, so as we are going through this talk, if some of you suddenly start dancing, then we have to fall at your feet. Okay, because you have sort of touched the ecstasy and the purity. And that is why it says, wherever there is a name of Rama, Hanuman starts dancing. Okay, and we have memories in our childhood where Hanuman Jayanti and so on, there is a program, and on the compound wall we used to actually see a Vanara coming, right? And we used to think, oh, Hanuman has come, right? That has happened at the institute several times. Okay. The other thing about Hanuman is he is sort of a favorite of everybody. So the very young, very old, right? Men, women, it's a young, everything, children. So he sort of is a, there are so many facets that immediately you can take to him, whatever your personality, whatever your tendencies. Okay, so now this is sort of the background that establishes how to go through a Nama Sankirtanam or Ashtottara Shatanama Stotram and how to approach it. So now we'll go through the stotra and go name by name, and I'll try to give some background so that we can appreciate the different facets of Hanuman, bring his imagery, bring the sounds in our minds, and allow that to purify our minds. So it is more than doing anything actively, it is just removing the barriers, allowing the grace to come. That is all that is really required. Okay. So the first stotra is Anjaneyo Mahaviro Hanuman Marutatmajaha Tattvajnana Pradaya Sita Devi Mudra Pradayakaha. Okay, so these are different names. And if it is a Namavali, we will say Anjaneyaya Namaha, Om Mahaviraya Namaha, and that's how that will go. So the first is Anjaneya. So again, let us use that to understand the birth story of Hanuman. The birth story of Hanuman is narrated by Jambavan in the Kishkinda Kanda. And Anjana is said to be Apsara called Punjakasthala, who has come and as a wife of a great Vanara called Kesari. And she is sort of roaming around the mountains, enjoying in human form. So she is a very striking beauty, striking character. Okay. So Vayu, the Lord of Wind, is attracted to her. Okay. And he goes and blesses her and embraces her. So Vayu anyway has Rupa Rahita Sparshavan Vayuhu. That is the characteristic. So he has the characteristic of touch without having any form. So that is per Nyaya Shastra, the definition or a characteristic of Vayu is Rupa Rahita Sparshavan. That is Vayu, nobody else. Okay. So now he embraces. Now of course there will be something in the mind, oh, she is a Pativrata, she is already married, how can Vayu embrace, etc. So that is very nicely clarified, where the deities, by such embracing, they lend their qualities to the child that is going to come. So he says, Manasa asmi gato yatvam parishvajya yashasvinim. By embracing, I am going manasa, through the manas. Okay? So your character as a pativrata is not hindered by this. So what will happen? Viryavan, buddhi sampannaha, putrastava bhavishyati. Okay, so your putra will be viryavan, full of virya, we'll see what is virya, and buddhi sampannaha, full of buddhi and wisdom. Mahasatvo mahateja. Mahasatvo means the very material that will make him, the buddhi sattva and the bodily material, will be highly exalted. Mahasatvo, mahateja, he will be glowing with the tejas. You might have heard Brahma Varchasam, means the knower of Brahma, there is a certain glow, there is a certain shine. So that will be in him, Mahateja, Mahabala Parakramaha, great heroism and unhindered by any obstacles. Bala means no obstacles can stop him. Mahabala Parakramaha, Langane Plavane Chaiva, Bhavishyatihi Matsamaha. In terms of leaping, in terms of flying, etc., and going here and there, he will have the same power as me, says Vayu. So with this, he is born to, like Hanuman takes birth to Anjana and Kesari, and therefore his name Anjaneya. So there is again a Panini Sutra that says, if like Kaunteya for Arjuna, Anjaneya for Hanuman. There is a certain suffix that comes. So Vayu also is a great deity, okay? So you might have heard, Shanno Mitra Shan Varunaha, it's a Vedic mantra. And there it says, Namo Brahmane, Namaste Vayo, Tvameva Pratyaksham Brahmasi. Okay, so Vayu is exalted as somebody that you are the Pratyaksha Brahma that we are seeing. And of course, Guruji, like it was said, he is an embodiment of Prana, Vayu Putra, he is coming in. So very beautifully, Guruji has also mentioned. So Rama is searching for Sita. Rama is, you can consider him to symbolize the highest Purusha, the Paramatma, Purusha Tattva, okay? Sita as the purest Prakriti, okay? Hanuman as the link, because Hanuman is the one who brought them together when she was lost. And in ourselves, the Mukhya Prana is the link, okay? So Guruji used to say, Vishwa Chaitanya Shakti. So the Mukhya Prana is that substance which becomes the medium of the Chaitanyam of the Purusha to reach the Prakriti, right? Because it cannot be Indriyas, because when we are asleep, the Indriyas are not active. Okay, so if you look at the Jagrat state, Swapna state, Sushupti state that we have, the only thing that is active throughout is the Mukhya Prana. And the Mukhya Prana is the single medium that brings in the Chaitanya and allows that to reach the Jada Prakriti. Okay? Similarly, Hanuman symbolizes that, because he is the one, when the two were separated, he crossed the ocean, right, and brought them together. So the prana and the vayu aspects, right, is coming by Vayu's contribution in the birth of Hanuman, which is seen in the birth story that we sort of keyed off from the name Anjaneya. So Anjaneyo Mahaviro. So the next name is Mahavira. Again in our minds we say, oh Mahavira, Yanamaha. So we have Hanuman as the Mahavira, a different, completely different aspect that should sort of take over in our minds as we visualize or conceptualize. Now Veera we know, courage and heroics, right, and a lot of not afraid and so on, can accomplish great deeds. So in the Sayana Bhashya, very briefly it has said, what is Veera? He says, Veeraha Karmani Samarthaha. Okay, so who is capable to get anything done in any karma, Karmani Samarthaha, that is Veeraha. So it may require courage, it may require whatever else, but who can accomplish and get things done. And Hanuman completely sort of embodies that. He is Karmani Samartha, whatever is required. Right from meeting Rama for the first time. So Rama and Lakshmana are walking in the forest. Sita is now, they don't know where Sita is. Somebody has sent them to the Rishyamukha mountain. Sugriva sees them. He says, who are these glowing young people? Are they here to cause trouble? What is happening here? So he sends Hanuman to meet Rama. And then there is this story we'll see a little later. But the way Hanuman projects itself, he sees them, Rama and Lakshmana, as extremely strong. The Kshatriyaness is sort of shining through their body, but also extremely sattvic. So the Brahmanatvam is also being seen. So how should I come across them so that I don't offend them and make them their friends? Sugriva says, Hanuman, you go and you handle it. So Karmani Samarthaha. So any kind of job that needs to be done, you can rely on Hanuman to get that done. Similarly, crossing the ocean. Like all the Vanaras are on the shore, they know it's 100 yojanas away. How do I jump? Jambavan says, I could have done it, I'm too old. Other people says, I cannot jump 100, I can jump 40, I can jump 60. Hanuman is quiet, right? And then Jambavan reminds him of his powers, because Hanuman had a curse. He has a lot of powers. It's a curse and also a blessing, right? Because he forgets his powers, but he remembers it when he needs it. So the lesson from that is the Shakti is useful only if deployed at the right point. Right? So Hanuman remembers it and suddenly he becomes very strong. He grows in size and he can say, I can crush the mountain, I can dry the oceans, nobody can stop him. I can get Sita back. And Jambavan says, hold on, you are not asked to get Sita back. All you have been asked to go and find where she is. Right? So then he has to take that control and he goes and gets finds Sita. There's this other part about, okay, he finds Sita, but how does he get her confidence? She has never seen him. He has also actually never seen her. So how to recognize, how to get her confidence, how to give her reassurance. And I'll cover some of that in the subsequent names. But a very beautiful, delicate scene where he is also in doubt. What should I do? What if she gets scared? Okay, so what should I do? And then again, Mahaviraha, Karmani Samarthaha, he accomplishes what he is supposed to do. He doesn't stop there. He uses that chance. He gets himself caught, imprisoned, because he wants a chance to see Ravana. His tail is burnt. He uses that chance to go and burn the whole city. Right? So these things, there is a lot of samarthyam just to think of these things that need to be done and actually getting them done. The entire Lanka gets burnt. He seeds fear in all the inhabitants, as if this one Vanara can do so much. And he says, I am nothing, I am a tucha. There is a huge army there. I am just come as a messenger. And he burns the whole Lanka. Those people are afraid when the army comes, what is going to happen, right? So he strikes terror in their hearts. So that is Mahavira, Karmani Samarthaha. Similarly, getting Sanjeevani, Lakshmana is unconscious. He doesn't find the herb, he gets the whole mountain, right? So unimaginable things he has been doing all his lives. So in the Yuddha Kanda, when Hanuman meets Rama and so on, Rama praises him like anything. And he says, Krutam Hanumata Karyam Sumahad Bhuvi Durlabham. Hanuman, you have done something that is Durlabha. It's not done in this world. Nobody has done it. You have done really great. Manasapi yad anyena na shakyam dharini tale. Even in the mind, somebody can't imagine that such things can be done. And you have actually gone and done that. So he gets very clear words of praise from Rama, his Lord, for everything that he has accomplished. This is before the Yuddha Kanda and the war begins. Okay. So Anjaneyo, Mahaviro. So here we say Mahaviraya Namaha. And then Hanuman. That is the next name. Hanuman Marutatmajaha. So there is a small story of how the name Hanuman he got. Hanu means this area, the chin area. So we know this story. He is a child. He sees the sun and he thinks it's a wonderful fruit. If I eat that, all my hunger will go away, and he jumps. He goes to eat the sun. And he actually goes 3,000 yojanas, it is said, he jumps and he goes towards the sun. Beyond that point, he is not able to bear that radiance. Okay? And he falls down. He is still a child. He falls down on the sort of peak of a rocky mountain. He falls down, and because of that, he gets hurt on the chin area, and it cracks, and therefore it swells. And therefore the name Hanuman. Okay, that is how it is explained. Jambavan says that Tada Shailagra Shikhare Vamo means the left, Hanuhu Abhajyata. So the left Hanu was broken, Abhajyata. Tato hi namadeyam te Hanuman iti kirtyate. And therefore the name Hanuman has been used for him. Okay? So very clearly we know where the name comes from. And since then it became a very popular name because a lot of the references to Hanuman, he has so many other names, Maruti and so on. But in the Ramayana also we see Hanuman is sort of used most often because that's a very striking physical appearance, I think. Then Marutatmajaha. So Marutatmajaha means Atmaja means born out of oneself. Okay? Jayate. So that is the ja suffix, Atmajaha. So born out of the Atma of Marut. Marut is Vayu. So Marutatmajaha. So he is the son of Vayu. But son in what type? We just saw the birth story. Vayu came and lent his celestial powers and blessed Anjana that the son who will be born, Viryavan Buddhi Sampannaha Putrastava Bhavishyati. So the child who will be born, he will have all my powers. Right? In that sense, Marutatmajaha. So again, Vayu, I said the greatness of Vayu and Prana. There's another thing, again in the Chandogya Upanishad, there's something called a Samvarga Vidya. Okay? Samvarga Vidya, so the Upanishads and the philosophers, they are looking at various things in the creation and essentially they are seeing Brahman there. They either see Brahman or they see the relation to Brahman. And that is how the philosophy gets developed and how the Upasana comes in. So in the Samvarga Vidya, the external Vayu, okay, is the Adibhautika Vayu. The internal Vayu is the Adhyatmika Vayu, which is Prana. So in the Adibhautika Vayu, we see everything dissolves everything gets absorbed into Vayu. Agni, okay, the flame comes, it goes away into the Vayu. Water evaporates, goes away into the Vayu. Right? So Vayu becomes the resting place for everything. So that is the Samvarga Vidya. Inside us similarly, that Vayu, there is a Prana Shakti. It has a touch of the Vayu. Because as part of the creation, so if you see say the Purusha Suktam. Okay, the Purusha Suktam is a Suktam which is in all the Vedas. So it has extreme greatness. It is in Rig Veda, Yajurveda, Samaveda, Atharva Veda, so highly revered. So it says the prana of the Purusha, the Purusha who created the creation, the prana of the Purusha became Vayu. Okay? Aitareya Upanishad says the Vayu goes in and becomes the prana. Okay? So there is a direct link between the prana of the primordial great Purusha, the Vayu, and the prana that is within us. Okay? So we have to recognize that. And just like the Agni gets absorbed, dissolved into Vayu, so Vayu becomes the resting place. Up Tattva, water gets evaporated, dissolved into Vayu. The seers, the rishis are seeing within us, the manas gets dissolved into the Vayu, which is prana. Okay, the buddhi gets dissolved into the Vayu, which is prana. The ahankara gets dissolved into the Vayu, that is prana. So, Vayu and prana, it's a very exalted position, and Hanuman is Marutatmajaha. So, he has all the characteristics of that, and he has come with a certain set of gunas and karma. So, the moment we hear the name Marutatmajaha, if we can bring all of that in our minds, right, and we ourselves get absorbed, just as the Samvarga Vidya is saying, right, then the Siddhi is said to happen. So the prana is sort of the ultimatum of all. And the Vayu and prana are two Samvargas, and Marutatmajaha, we can take that as embodying all these qualities of that and being the essential support in his role in the Ramayana as well. Because like I was saying, whenever there was a crisis, it was Hanuman who used to come and help resolve that. Then, Hanuman Marutatmajaha, Tattvajnana Prada Sita Devi Mudra Pradayakaha. So, he is a Tattvajnana Pradaha. So, one who gives Tattvajnanam. So, of course, the prerequisite to give Tattvajnanam is to have that Tattvajnanam. So, he had all the knowledge of the Tattvas. And if you look at the Nyaya Shastra, the Sankhya Shastra, etc., the highest thing, what is required for Mukti is Tattvajnanam. Okay, as per that school. So the moment you have Tattvajnanam, it is going to inevitably lead to self-realization, inevitably going to lead to bhakti, inevitably going to lead to grace of the Lord. Okay, so Tattvajnanam is held at a very important stage. And that is why there is this enumeration of tattvas that happens in various, you will say, okay, buddhi, ahankara, manas, and all these tattvas are enumerated. Some will say 24, some will say 25, some will say 26, some will say 36, right? There are various, but the recognition of tattvas is extremely important. So he gives that. So he is a giver of wisdom, which also tells us that siddhi, okay, the another thing in Yoga Shastra is, any yogic action leads to a siddhi. Okay? The exact mechanism, so it's not a machine in the sense that this, therefore that, and there is sort of a lever that gets pressed and the siddhi comes. Okay? Any yogic action leads to siddhi because the potential of that siddhi already resides in us. And any yogic action, it creates the vasanas which is yogic towards dharma, removes the vasanas which are opposed to that. So the siddhi that already existed, the gates are opened and that sort of floods our brain or floods our self, the chitta. And therefore any yogic action, so that is why when the ashtangas are described, okay, everywhere there is a siddhi. Ahimsa, there is a siddhi. Ahimsa pratisthayam tatsannidho vairatyagaha. Means once ahimsa is established, automatically vaira will be given up. Okay? So there is no question of how that happens. So similarly, Tattvajnana Pradaha, the name, tells us that upasana of this aspect of Hanuman, the siddhi will be the rise of wisdom, the rise of Tattvajnanam. So that is bound to happen. Now this giving of wisdom is seen in various places. When he meets Sita, she is in a very delicate emotional state. Right? She will say, okay, I will give up my life. What is happening? I am so sad. He gives wisdom there. When Rama kills Vali, okay, Tara is very sad. Tara says, okay, then there is no use. My husband, he was going to become the king. Again, it is Hanuman who gives her wisdom. You have a son. Okay, we have a, Rama has come. We have something to do. Gain your strength. And so several things he has to say. To Angada. Angada is Vali's son. Okay. Rama kills Vali. Vali is Sugriva's brother. And at Sugriva's behest, Vali is killed. Vali was the king. Angada was going to be the Yuvraj, right? The next prince. Now his father is killed. So he is extremely sad and angry. Right? And very beautifully, Hanuman, again the giver of wisdom, you can see him using all the Sama, Dama, Danda, Beda. So he'll say first, oh Angada, you are so great, you have so much strength, you will definitely be of value to us, come and join us. Okay? That doesn't work, then he'll say, no, I mean, he'll use a Dama, we will give you this, we will make you the prince, don't worry, and so on. That doesn't work. He says, okay, if you don't do that, you think people are your friends, they are not going to come to you, they are going to come to us. Right? So all the Sama, Dama, Danda Veda he uses to convince Angada to join Sugriva and be part of that. So the wisdom shines in the way that he uses he tunes his speech to the listener, right? Something that's going to convince the listener. And therefore, I mean, even in the Bhagavad Gita, there is something called Vangmaya Tapa. There is a tapa of speech. Okay? So Vangmaya Tapa, Anudvega Karam Vakyam. So, speech that will not agitate. There is no Udvega. So Anudvega Karam Vakyam. Satyam, it has to be true. Priyam, it has to be dear. Okay? Hitam, it has to be beneficial. Okay? So if we try to do this Vangmaya Tapa, we'll just have to sit mute, right, without speaking. Because how can you speak Satya, Priya, Hita, everything, right? But Hanuman had that. So in all of his speech, he had all of these used to come. There was no falsehood. It was always beneficial and it was always dearly received, right? And that is something that needs wisdom of a very high caliber. Similarly, in the Mahabharata, there's for Bhima, he removes Bhima's ego, right? He's an advisor to Sugriva. That's also very beautiful because Sugriva, after Rama kills Vali, Sugriva promises, I will help you. Right? And then Rama makes Sugriva the king. Right? Now Sugriva has, Tara is also his wife, Roma his wife, and so on. So he has a big kingdom now. 3 months he does nothing. Okay. So now what happens is, the 3 months have passed, he has promised he will help. And Rama, Lakshmana, they don't live in the kingdom because they are supposed to be in the forest. So they are staying outside. And they hear nothing. Lakshmana gets extremely angry. Okay, Lakshmana is an avatar of Adishesha, the serpent. Patanjali is also an avatar of Adishesha. So he gets extremely angry and he comes fuming. Again, Hanuman has to go and he has to console. And the first thing he says, Lakshmana, calm down. I know you dearly love Rama, but actually Sugriva loves Rama more than you. Okay, and then he has to sort of convince him and get things under control. And very beautifully he does that. So this Tattva Jnana Pradayaka is not just a sermon on philosophy, okay, on crisis situations, but going to the underlying principles, right? He sort of cuts through everything and uses exactly that which will penetrate the listener's heart, right? And to do that, you need such enormous wisdom and sensitivity. And that is what Hanuman sort of embodies in the story. Then Tattva Jnana Pradah. Then Sita Devi Mudra Pradayakaha. So this is also a compound word. So the one who gave the ring that Rama had given as a symbol of recognition, that okay, this is a genuine person really coming from Rama, he is the one who gave it to Sita. Right? Now again, right at the beginning, Rama has to decide that he can give the ring to Sita. Okay? Now he doesn't know Hanuman that well at that point. Rama and Lakshmana have just met Sugriva and the Vanaras, right? So he doesn't know them very well. Sugriva, he appoints Hanuman. He says, you go and you are the main one to find Sita. And Sugriva then, as part of that, is extolling and praising Hanuman's quality. Rama is listening. So then Rama says, Vyavasaya chate veera sattva yuktascha vikramaha Sugrivasya cha sandeshaha siddhim kathayati vame. He says, your actions, okay, and the potent power I can see in you. The sattva, the very fabric and material that you are made of, that I can see. Sattva yuktaha. And vikramaha, the heroism, because he had already carried Rama Lakshmana on the shoulders and taken them from the sort of the foothills to the top of the hill. Sugrivasya cha sandeshaha. So the praise of Sugriva that I just heard, how Sugriva entrusted you with this task. Listening to that, I feel you are the right one. Okay, you will be able to accomplish it. And then Rama gives the ring. So it's not like it was all decided that Hanuman is the person, Rama simply gives it. Rama also had to be convinced, okay, this is the right person. Now he has to find Sita. There's the whole story of jumping, crossing the ocean, and he first goes to Ravana's palace, right? He sees a scene of depravity, several Ranis, and the sort of the clothing lying here and there, instruments, bottles of wine, and so on. Earlier he felt Sita would be in the palace. He sees that, he says, no, Sita cannot be here. And then he finds her in the Ashokavanam. She is highly troubled because she is surrounded by these ogresses or demonesses. Immediately there is compassion that rises in him when he sees her. So glorious, but in such a pitiable state. So first thing he says, okay, that compassion wells up in him. First thing he thinks is she will be scared of me. Right? So he is already in a small size. And he says, I have to speak to her. First thing I have to do is I have to tune my language. Okay? So let me speak, he says, in Manushi Bhasha, the Sanskrit of lay people. Because Sanskrit has so many levels. Okay? Kalidasa Sanskrit and the regular Sanskrit, there's a huge difference. So first thing he says, let me speak in Manushi Bhasha. Because if I speak like a learned person, she will think it is a Ravana in some other form, right, coming. So first thing that comes into mind, I have to stick to Manushi Sanskrit, not go to the Brahmanic Sanskrit, because she will think I am Ravana. Then again he is wondering, if I go and present myself, right, she will be scared. Because suddenly there's a monkey coming, I mean, she doesn't expect that. So she will be scared, she may scream. If she screams, all the demonesses will come. And it will turn really ugly because there will be a big havoc and soldiers will come, and what I want to accomplish, which is to gain Sita's confidence, that will be destroyed. Okay, then probably I should just go back. I have found her, my job is to find her, I can go back. Right? But then he had just heard when Sita was crying, she said, I will give up my life. What is this happening? I don't want. So he thinks, okay, if I go, and then if she gives up her life rather than surrendering to Ravana and she dies, then what is the point of me finding her? Okay, I have accomplished my task as it has been stated to me. But the accomplishment of the task is useless because the real purpose is not served. Right? So then he says, no, I should not go back. Now I am stuck. If I go to her, there is trouble. If I present myself. If I go back, there is trouble. So if I talk to Vaidehi, it will be a great mistake on my part. If I do not speak to Vaidehi, she may give up her life. Right? So what to do? Then should I go and carry her with me or do something different? He says, no, I should not use my brain so much. He says, Ghatayanti hi karyani dutaha panditamaninaha. If a duta starts thinking of himself as a pandita, right, he will destroy the karya. So, Ghatayanti hi karyani dutaha panditamaninaha. So, that sentence by itself has a lot of value. So, we should know our place. Okay? So, let me not do such things. Then what do I do? So, there's a very interesting thing where he is sort of thinking in his mind. Then he says, okay, let me do one thing. Let me just praise Rama, who is very dear to me, very dear to her. Just by listening to Rama's praises, the whole atmosphere will change. Right? So look at sort of the sukshma buddhi that you need to have. Then, and Ramayana shows us how we arrived at this conclusion. Because Rama is judicious in action. Right? So here we need, Hanuman needed to be judicious. So he takes the name of Rama, who is also judicious. So there is this link that has always been there in our tradition. Okay? And in whom her mind is absorbed. Right? So if I do that, I will not create fear in her. Okay? So then he does that. So Ramam aklishta karmanam subandhum anukirtayan. So he is taking his aklishta karmanam means Rama, who is also very capable, who gets things done without any difficulty. Na enam udvejayishyami. So this is how he is making up his mind. I will not agitate her. Tad bandhu gatamanasam. Because her mind is also absorbed in my brother. So this will not agitate her if I do that. So he starts reciting the story of Rama just to show that he knows Rama and also draw her interest. Now what happens to Sita? See, immediately that effect comes. It says, Nishamya Sita Vachanam Kapeshcha Dishascha Sarvaha Pradishascha Vikshya. So listening to him taking the praises of Rama and seeing in all directions, where is he? Sita, Swayam Praharsham Paramam Jagama. She goes into the supreme joy. Swayam Praharsham Paramam Jagama. So she went to the supreme joy. Sarvatmana Ramam Anusmaranti. So what happens? Through his entire her embodiment, Sarvatmana, all aspects of her embodiment, body, mind, etc. Ramam Anusmaranti. So the Smaranam of Rama, Anu means following Hanuman's speech. So whatever Hanuman is saying, that Smaranam is rising in Sita. So when we say these namas, the similar Anusmaranam is supposed to happen in us. Okay. So what should happen then? Paramam Harsham Jagama. So Praharsham, Prakarshena Harsha. So a supreme joy comes into her just by listening to those names. And then he hands her the ring. And then see, in her case, Gruhitva Prekshamana Saha Bhartuhu Karavibhushanam Bhartaram Samprapta Janaki Mudita Bhavat. So having taken that ring, okay, which is a karavibhushanam, an adornment of her husband's hand, okay, bhartaram iva samprapta, as though she has attained Rama himself by attaining the ring, that much joy she got, okay. Janaki mudita bhavat. Charu tadvadanam tasya tamra shuklayate kshanam ashobhata vishalaksha rahu mukta ivodurat. See, again a beautiful poetic thing. Charu tadvadanam, her beautiful face, because now all her grief has gone away. Suddenly she feels this rush of joy. Tasyaha tamra shuklayateshwaram. So it is like the bronze, sort of the glow coming in her. Ashobhata vishalaksha, large eyes. So it is ashobhata means it becomes very grand, it blossoms. Like what? Rahu mukto iva udurat. Udurat means the moon. Okay. And so the moon, as though it is coming out of an eclipse. Rahu mukto. So Rahu means the Rahu eats up the moon, and that is said to be the eclipse. Now when the moon is released, the moon once again shines very brilliantly and happily. So her face, which was so sad and completely depressed, suddenly opens up by Hanuman handing that ring. So that, therefore, Hanuman gets the name Sita Devi Mudra Pradayakaha. So just taking Rama's ring, giving it to Sita, okay, crossing the ocean and etc. is very difficult, but even the handing of the ring to her had a lot of delicacy and potential problems, which very deftly and very smoothly he sort of overcame, and he accomplished that deed. So that completes our first verse. So I don't see us completing the entire stotra anyway, so we'll be sort of limited. But Ashokavanika Cheta, Sarva Maya Vibhanjanaha, Sarva Bandha Vimukta cha, Raksho Vidhvamsakarakaha. So he was the one who cut down the Ashoka garden. So Ashoka garden was supposed to be very, very beautiful in Lanka. It competed with Indra's garden in the heavens. Hanuman decides to cut that because he says it is the pride of the place. If I go and destroy that, Ravana is sure to send his soldiers to catch me. Because he is about to go back. He said, but how can I go back without seeing this Ravana? Okay, let me see who he is, how powerful he is. And the best way to see is get myself captured, then they'll surely take me to him. So he deliberately creates a lot of destruction, right? He destroys the garden and so on. So he is known as Ashokavanika Cheta. Sarva Maya Vibhanjanaha. So he is also known as destroying, removing all the moha. Okay, there is several places of delusion. Even when the Lakshmana falls unconscious and when they get the Sanjeevani Parvata, Rama says, okay, what is the use? My brother is dying. Okay, I will also die. What is the use of fighting? So Rama himself, because he is in a Manusha avatara, okay. So because he is in a Manusha avatara, he is showing all these, is a completeness of a human being. He is crying, okay, I feel like dying. Hanuman comes and removes all the moha. So he is known as Sarva Maya Vibhanjanaha, remover of all delusions. Which means if we also meditate on that aspect of Hanuman as a Maya Vibhanjanaha, our moha gets destroyed as per again the tradition and the Yoga Shastra. Sarva Bandha Vimokta, removal of all the bondages. Whether it is bondage of Prakriti. So there are many bondages also listed in Sankhya. Prakritika Bandha, etc. There are these bandhas. One of space, of time, right? Because we have these bandhas. We are in a given place, in a given role. Our birth has happened here, etc. Right? Now, for example, it is said the best chance for success is to wisely choose your parents. Okay, but then how do you do that? Right? So that is a form of bandha that we are born with. Right? So these bandhas have to be removed, and Hanuman is able to do that. Whether it is bandha of experience, bhoga, anubhava, prakriti, etc. And in fact, so there isn't, we won't be able to complete, but one of the things I was asked to also address as part of here is, Hanuman is a brahmachari, right? But a lot of childless couples, they go to Hanuman, and through his blessings, they get a child. So, okay, what is this contradiction? If he is a brahmachari, and how do they do that? So there, I thought we'll also clarify, because I was asked to clarify. So first is, brahmachari means brahmani charya. So all of his action is in Brahman, it is said. So in Sanskrit, when you say Brahmani, in Brahman means it is for Brahman, it is completely established in Brahman. So he has that teja because of that brahmachari. Of course, he is also not married, etc. In some renditions of Ramayana, they say he has 2 wives, and there are other stories as well. But in the Valmiki Ramayana, and in any case, brahmachari means you follow the dictums of Brahman, the Vedas, the Shastra. Okay. The real power that we are looking for when we say, okay, a childless couple should get a child, it is to the remover of badha. Okay, so the badha is said to come from Adidaivika, Adibhautika, Adhyatmika. It may be something celestial, it is said, because the grahas, etc., they are said to have an influence. It is also our past karmas, our samskaras, our vasanas, etc., causing those problems, because that vasanas will fructify and we are supposed to undergo that sad situation, let's say. Adibhautika, the circumstances are such that, okay, there is a lot of stress and strain or whatever. Because of that, maybe the couple is not getting a child. Adidaivika or Adhyatmika means something within the embodiment, maybe health issues, things are not happening at the right time, etc. So these badhas, Hanuman by his power is able to overcome his badha, and therefore Hanuman and Shani, okay, that is also, they are said to close together, because Shani is said to be in some sense scared of Hanuman. When Hanuman comes, he will be under control, it is said. So therefore it is this bandha vimokta nature of Hanuman which is related to why, even though he is a brahmachari, and of course why he is a brahmachari is a different story, but we can then see that, okay, he had a very clear purpose, was to do Rama Karya without any distractions. So the natural choice is to be a brahmachari and not have other responsibilities, etc. So in that sense, he is very free. So for example, when they come back after the war, Rama comes in the Pushpaka Vimanam, the Vanaras, they are very happy. So there are these scenes where they go into this forest, they are eating fruits, uprooting trees and creating a lot of, like we have in our festivals, right? The drums and this and that, gulal. So the Vanaras actually do that, and that boisterousness is described. So Valmiki never loses sight of these beings. They are not humans, they are Vanaras. So their self-nature is also shown as part of that. Okay, Sarva Bandha Vimokta and Rakshodvamsa Karakaha. So the Rakshasas, their whole kula is destroyed, and he is the Karaka. It is not that he alone did that, but he is a very significant contributing factor for that. In Sanskrit grammar also there are several karaka, okay? And students in school, they probably know that. So, and that is why the apadana karakaha, and there are several karakas. Karanam, karma, all of those are karakas. So he plays a very big role in the evil forces to be destroyed. Similarly, paravidya pariharaha, parashaurya vinashanaha, paramantra nirakarta, parayantra prabhedakaha. Okay. So there are various ways in where your enemies or ill wishers, right, may try to cause problems to you. Paravidya, okay, by using their brains, they create situations that cause problems to you. Parashaurya, so through their courage, they will create trouble, cause problems. Paramantra, they will use mantras and the power of the mantras to create problems. Okay, so this is very much there in the ancient times. Even today it is said there is a lot of this following and belief that through mantra you can get good things, or you can also use it to cause harm to others, right? So, and parayantra. So all of these, mantra, yantra, tantra, etc., there are different ways for humans to invoke the celestials, right? So invoking celestial powers, mantra is one route, yantra is another, then there are these tantra. So there are certain things that are laid out. In a lot of the Agama Shastras, you will find that. Even all the drawings that we see, it's very much described in the Agama Shastra. This is how it should be. When drawing this should be in your mind, and so on. Right? So there is a nyasa that is happening. So this coming from the other, okay, and causing harm to you, he is able to destroy. Okay, paravidya pariharaha, parashaurya vinashanaha, destroys, paramantra nirakarta, parayantra prabhedaka. So he renders all of these attempts by opposing forces totally useless through his intelligence, tact and strength. Okay, and therefore if we worship Hanuman for that purpose also gets achieved. So that is how these namas, so even the choice of namas, the way they are laid out, are meant for this. Sarvagraha vinashi cha Bhimasena sahayakrit sarvadukkahara sarvalokachari manojavaha. So sarvagraha vinashi. So all these grahas that cause that cause good things and bad things, it is said as per the Jyotish Shastra, he can destroy that. So sarvagraha, so anything causing bad, so again the example of the childless couple, it is said, oh, because of this graha it is not happening. It is said if you worship Hanuman and you are able to successfully invoke the problems due to the graha also goes away. So the graha dosha can be destroyed by invoking Hanuman, Sarva Graha Vinashi. There is also a story, it's not in the Valmiki Ramayana, but this is that Ravana had captured Shani and had him imprisoned in Lanka. And Hanuman found him, so he was burning Lanka, etc. And he suddenly saw this deity and said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "No, I am captured." And Hanuman sets him free. Okay, so therefore there is special connection as per that story between Hanuman and Shani as well. Bhimasena Sahayakrit. So this is another story. Again, I have to be very brief, but it's very interesting because I remember telling this story to Diksha when she was like a small child, and she always enjoyed it because it's Bhima who is very strong. He is walking on the road full of pride, right? And there is this monkey sitting on the way. He doesn't know it is Hanuman, and the monkey deliberately is putting his tail on the way. Bhima feels insulted. What is this? Come on, take that tail aside. So, and I used to sort of narrate that, say, "Hey, monkey, come on, take that tail aside." And the monkey says, "No, I am very old. I cannot move my tail." Right? A lot of us we do that in classes. "I cannot do this asana. I am very old." So similarly he says that, and then. He says, "Bhima, why don't you do that?" And then Bhima tries to lift with one hand, left hand, very arrogantly. It doesn't happen. Right hand doesn't happen. Both hands doesn't happen. And then he recognizes this is not an ordinary monkey, and this is Hanuman. And then he realizes pride has no place. Okay, and so that is Bhimasena Sahayakrit, because that transformed Bhima. Then Sarva Dukkha Haraha. We have touched upon that, how he can counter Dukkha. Sarva Lokachari. So he has access to all the lokas, like Narada. We see Narada can suddenly appear anywhere, right? So Hanuman also has the power, Sarva Lokachari. And there are again some stories outside of Valmiki Ramayana. So there is a very nice story of Mahiravana, where then Mahiravana, Hanuman goes to the nether world, the Patala Loka and so on. So he was a Sarva Lokachari. He is the Sarva Lokachari because he is a Chiranjeevi. He is said to be, see, he has Ichcha Maranam, he can choose. He is still there. Manojavaha, as swift as the mind. Okay. So and therefore we recited that Manojavam Maruta Tulya Vegam. So Manojavaha, he has that. So it is said, I mean in the Ramayana it is said, Marutasya Samo Vege, Garudasya Samo Jave. So in terms of speed, he is like the wind. Marutasya Samo Vege. In terms of the ability to reach anywhere, Garudasya Samo Jave, the power. So Garuda, again in our institute we have Garuda here. Right, we have Maruti there, we have Krishna here, Yogeshwara. So we have all of this here. So Garudasya Samo Jave. In the Kenopanishad, about Brahman it is said, Aneja Dekam Manaso Javiyo. So it has, so like Manojava, the Brahman can reach anywhere the mind can reach, but it doesn't move at all. Okay, so there is a contradiction. So these philosophical texts have that Aneja Dekam, it doesn't move, but it can reach anywhere. That's Anejatekam Manaso Javiyo. So the Kenopanishad says that. So Marutasya Samo Vege, Garudasya Samo Jave, Ayutam Yojananam tu Gamishyami Itime Matihi. He says that, okay? So this is the story when he has to cross the ocean. He doesn't know his powers. Jambavan tells the story of his own life and reminds him that you have all this power, why are you forgetting? Suddenly he remembers and he becomes very, very excited, right? In that sense, he goes huge, he says, I can crush everything. And there he says, Marutasya Samo Vege, Garudasya Samo Jave, Ayutam Yojananam tu. However, there may be yojanas. Yojana means it's a unit of distance. Okay, there are some debates. It is 3 miles, it is 100 miles, it is 30 miles, etc. But so many yojanas I can go. Gamishyami iti me matihi. I believe I will be able to go. Okay, so I'll cover one last stotra. The next is Parijata Drumamulasthaha. Okay. Sarva mantra swarupavan, sarva tantra swarupi cha, sarva yantratmakastatha. So Parijata Drumamulasthaha. So it is not very clear where this has come from. There is a Tulsidasa's composition Hanumat Stavanam, where he says Anjaneyam Atipatalananam Kanchanadri Kamaniya Vigraham Parijata Tarumula Vasinam Bhavayami Pavamana Nandanam. He says. So he is sort of praising Hanuman. He says, Anjaneyam, Atipatalananam, glowing face like gold. Kanchanadri Kamaniya Vigraham, like a golden mountain, a very attractive form. Okay, like something like what we are seeing here. Parijata Tarumula Vasinam, who lives at the roots of the Parijata tree. So this is probably a revelation to him as a bhaktan, as he is Tulsidas is seeing. Hanuman as a Parijata Tarumula. Bhavayami. Bhavayami is I bring this in my mind. See, that is, so in Yoga Sutra, Vitarka Badane Pratipaksha Bhavanam. Okay? So this Bhavanam is a very special, unique concept in our yogic system. It is not imagine. See, there is no good word. Imagine means we know it is an imagination. Okay? Bhavayami means I am creating, I am constructing a concept in my mind. So I am creating a certain cognition in my mind very consciously. Okay? And let my chitta be suffused with that and with nothing else. Okay, so that is known as bhavayami. So bhavayami pavamana nandanam. Pavamanaha means Vayu, his son Nandana. So Pavamana is the favorite son of Vayu. So from that I think we get the name Parijata Druma Moolastaha. Then Sarva Mantra Swarupaman, Sarva Tantra Swarupi, Sarva Yantratmakaha. So he embodies, okay, mantra, yantra, tantra, all ways of communing with the celestial deities. Okay? Yoga Sutras mention that in one place, Swadhyayat Ishta Devata Samprayogaha. So that is very surprising because Swadhyaya means we study Moksha Shastra Adhyayanam Pranava Japova. That is how it has been defined. So you are studying the Moksha Shastras, you are doing Japa of the Pranava, Om and so on. But what happens? Automatically the Ishta Devata will come to you. Okay? The communion with the Ishta, it doesn't say which Devata. Whichever Devata is favorite, automatically that Devata will come to you and you will have that communion. Now, the different ways to reach the Devata, mantra, yantra, tantra, cover the range of ways that we have. Hanuman is said to be the Swarupa of all of that. Because essentially, Hanuman embodies the ability to go and reach one's Lord. Okay? So very nicely it is said, Sarva Mantra Swarupaman, Sarva Tantra Swarupicha, Sarva Yantrat Makastatha. Okay, so I think I'll stop. It's time up. We'll probably cover the remaining names and put it up as a recording. But I thought rather than hurry through the names, it is better to sort of create an atmosphere where we can sort of appreciate what these names are about. Okay, so I'll end with a sloka about what does Hanumat Smaranam give us. Okay, it says, Buddhir Balam Yasho Dhairyam Nirbhayatvam Arogata. Okay, so Buddhi. Bala. Bala is also very interesting. It is a way to overcome obstacles. So it is very nicely it is said, Shishu Nam Rodanam Balam. So for a baby, crying is the Bala. Okay, so if the baby is very good at crying, it will get everything it needs. Okay, so the Bala is about overcoming obstacles in whatever way is suitable to you. So Buddhir Balam Yasho Dhairyam Nirbhayatvam. Okay, Dhairyam means courage. Okay, Nirbhayatvam, no fear. Arogata, no health problems, no roga. Okay. And that comes very close to our yogic conception also because it is yatra yatra dhruto vayuhu. So wherever as part of our asanas we do dharanam of the vayu, that roga is automatically countered. It is said in the Yoga Upanishads. Okay. So here we see nirbhayatvam arogata, ajadyam vakpatutvam cha. Ajadyam means, jadya means not having any chetana. Chetana means a spark of consciousness. Okay, so this stone is jada. Okay, it doesn't have its own consciousness. So jadyam is that the jadasya bhavaha jadyam. So jadya is that. So this is ajadyam. So that dullness, as though there is no life, there is no spark of consciousness, that goes away. So ajadyam, vakpatutvam cha. So it's a skill in speech. Okay, so the vak indriya is considered very important in our. That is why Saraswati, the Vedas, everything is in the form of speech. That is the medium of wisdom. Okay, so vakpatutvam cha hanumat smaranat bhavet. By remembering Hanuman, you get all of this. Buddhir balam yasho dhairyam nirbhayatvam arogata ajadyam vakpatutvam cha hanumat smaranat bhavet. And if you start imagining this and also juxtapose or superimpose Guruji with all of this, you start realizing so many parallels between Hanuman and his qualities and Guruji and what he has done and achieved in his life. And if you sort of map Buddhi, Bala, Yasha, Dhairya, Nirbhayatva, all of the things he has gone through, he has finally shined through all of that. Ajadya, okay, Vakpatutvam, we didn't even qualify through the school exams, but later the speech full of wisdom. So when we are doing Hanumat Smaranam, we should also superimpose that with Smaranam of Guruji. And with that, I'll stop for today. Okay, so thank you.
Thank you, Srinit. Before we all leave, you can, of course, take the blessings of Lord Hanuman here. And as you all know, it's the month of Chaitra. So some special snacks will be served down there. Please join us. And those who are fasting, because it is also Chaturthi today, snacks for them also will be organized, okay?
So just a concluding note, a few things from Hanumat Rahasya. You just now heard. He was a Rama Sevaka. What kind of Rama Sevaka? See, when we have problems, we pray the Almighty, please help me, please redeem me. So we pray to the Almighty and we want to be served by the Almighty. God give me this, God give me that, God redeem me from this. Now Rama was there to subserve, Hanuman was there to subserve Rama himself, the omnipotent entity. Kartrum, akartrum, anyatha kartum samarthyam is with the Paramatma, Rama. The Rama is Bhagavan. Now find out how Hanuman was a unique sevaka who was in servitude of Rama, whereas we want services of Rama. We are beseeching services of Rama for our problems, for our limitations, our shortcomings. We want Rama to subserve us. And what is our subservience to Rama? Patram, Pushpam, Phalam, Toyam, Namaskar. Just do one Namaskar and we expect him to do a lot. So we part with 1 rupee and we want billions of rupees from him. Just break one coconut. Today it is costing more than 5 rupees, but earlier it was 4 annas, 25 paise. Whatever it, but what do we expect from him? Something, our project of multi-million, Rama, help us to be successful. But see what kind of, he was also in subservience of Sita, Mahalakshmi. Sita was Mahalakshmi. He was in subservience of Lakshmi. We want Lakshmi to subserve us. Last thing. Why did they take the Kapi form? Why did Hanuman opt for Kapi form and not human form? Because all of the devotees we say in human form, Gnaneshwar, Tukaram, Namdev, Eknath, Prahlad, Dhruva, they were all in human form, but then why? Hanuman opted for Kapi form. Had he been human form, sometimes he would have coveted chappals of Sri Rama. Sri Rama, when he is parting away with the chappals or throwing away, he should give it to me. Or the clothes that he wears. If he wants to abandon the clothes and buy new ones, so as a human subservient, he will expect old clothes of my Lord, old things of my Lord. So I should not have any covet for whatever Rama is wearing on, Rama is putting on, Rama is using. And therefore he took Kapi form. So he will have no covet. Because had he been a human being, there would have been covet. Just as example, some of the Guruji's devotees, devotees of Guruji. Finally, sometimes they asked, Guruji, please can you part your jabba as a blessing? Can you part your dhoti as a blessing? I will cherish it as blessings. So that means what Guruji was wearing, the students had covet on it. But he took Kapi form so that he will never have any covet. Rama might be wearing ornaments. The Kapi doesn't wear any ornament. So he will have no covet for ornament, no covet for clothes. Otherwise, one would have said, Rama, your old clothes which you are abandoning, please give it to me. I will worship them and I will take as a blessing. He did not want anything of that kind. Therefore, he took Kapi form. This is Hanuman Rasya. Anyway, much to hear about it. And we will hear about during the Ashtottara Shatanama Namavali, which he is going to complete We will try to know the gunas and karmas of Hanuman. Hanuman was brahmachari. You heard about one thing. Another thing, when the girls don't get married, they also worship Hanuman. Now, he himself was unmarried. But he was, as he said, he was a brahmachari. That means Brahma can fulfill any desire. That's the absolute principle, ultimate principle. So, as a Brahman, Maruti was Brahmanized, and therefore, even girls who are not getting married, they do some kind of navas for Hanuman. As you heard, somebody doesn't bear children, Hanuman. So Hanuman was completely accomplished. And he was Rama Sevaka, in subserviency of the one who is master of the universe, Jagatpati. Rama was Jagatpati, and he was subserving Rama in his difficulties. You heard, when Lakshmana was injured, Rama was in sorrows. Sita was in sorrow, so he came to rescue of Sita, who was subsumed by sorrow. So also he came to subserve Rama, who was again subsumed with sorrow because of unconscious Lakshmana. So Rama in difficulty, he went to help. When we are in difficulty, we ask Rama to help. Therefore, Bhagavatas are greater than Bhagavan, according to Rahasya in Dharma. Bhagavan is supreme. The question is put, who is greater than Bhagavan? Bhagavata is greater than Bhagavan. Therefore, that's practice. Never offend a Bhagavata, you have a hell of a time. You can offend Bhagavan, he does nothing. There are so many atheist people, Nastikas, who blame God. Nothing happens, no problem. But if you offend Bhagavata, you have a hell of a time. So never ever offend a Bhagavata. Bhagavata is greater than Bhagavan. That is Bhakti Rahasya. Anyway, so we await for the next session on Ashtotara Shatanamavali and try to understand Hanumat Gunas, Hanumat Karmas. Each Nama depicts his karma and guna, which is unlike our condition. We are never justifying our Nama. Our namas are Rama, Krishna, Govinda, Achyuta, Ananta. Who are we? We are worse than Ravanas. We have the name of Lakshmi and this and Parvati and Sita and what are these names. What are we? We are worse than demonic people. Whereas in case of Hanuman, the Rama is totally justifying. His Nama justifies his karma, Nama justifies his guna, or gunas and namas justify his Nama. He is worth his Nama, unlike we people. My name can be Narayana, I don't justify my name. His name, he justifies. That's the greatness of Hanuman. Anyway, let's wait for the next session, which will further tell us about Hanuman. Namaskar, all of you.
Yoga Rahasya copy is available downstairs. Those who want to buy it, please. Okay. Right now we have some limited copies, but they will be back in sale after June, after the institute reopens. Okay. Thank you all.